We now turn our attention to golf. The 2018 US Open, held at Shinnecock Hills. Starts June the 14th. It's held in Southampton, USA. And we will be eager to find out who will succeed Brooks Koepka as the new US Open champion. It's an 156-man field. So in terms of the betting, you've got a lot of choice. There's a lot of players. Certainly not going to be easy, to select the winner. But what I'm going to do is come up with 6 names, 6 selections out of the 156, which I think present good value in the market. I'm not necessarily going to go for the hot favourites, but I'm going to go for people who have been presented with a reasonable price by the bookies, or a price which looks significantly bigger than it should be. And in a 156-man field, it is wise to stick to value. If we look at the head of the market, we've got Dustin Johnson, who's won the FedEx St. Jude Classic last week in red-hot form, which often seems to be the case going into a major. It's often the case that Dustin Johnson is blazing hot, and he is in this case, and he's the favourite, around at 8-1 as the favourite most bookies. Rory McIlroy, second favourite, 12-1. Jason Day, 16-1. Justin Rose, 16-1. The ever-dependable Justin Rose, the 2013 US Open champion at Merion. Justin Thomas, tremendous form recently, 16-1. For months and years he's been in tremendous form. John Rahm as well, 18-1, the Spaniard. Ricky Fowler, 18-1. Tiger Woods, 18-1. Brooks Koepka, 20-1. Amazes me that Tiger Woods is at a shorter price than Brooks Koepka, the defending champion. He has been playing decent woods, but again we find him at a shortish price. He was way shorter in the Masters, but 18-1, it's not going to be one I'm going to be looking at in terms of value. But he is playing well. I think he will expect, or he'll be looking for a top 25 finish. But in terms of winning it, I'm not sure. After Tiger Woods, you've got Koepka 20-1, Jordan Spieth 20-1. Looks a juicy price on Spieth. You don't often get Spieth above sort of 12-1. So Spieth has been moved out slightly. That might be of interest to a lot of punters. Henrik Stenson 30-1. Hideki Matsuyama 30-1, Brandon Grace 35-1. So that's the sort of head of the market. We've also got, after Grace, you've got Mickelson, Fleetwood and DeChambeau at around 35-1. Personally, I'm going to stay away from the short numbers. I must say, having just spotted Jordan Spieth at 20-1, I think if you're going to have a bet on a short price player, that's probably a very good one. This is a tough course. It's long. It's a legendary course. It's an inland links style. So in some ways it'll play like a British Open, but not completely. It is obviously held in the States. Rory McIlroy has said, although it resembles a US Open course, it's a course you still have to fly the ball onto the green. There's not a lot of opportunities to play bump and rum stuff, rolling the ball up to the green, playing chip shots and bump shots in. You've still got to land it on the green and hold it on the green. It's a very firm course. The ball's going to run hard. There's a lot of deep fescue. It's one of those courses where if you're off target, if your driving is wayward and your ball ends up in the long grass, there's a possibility you might not find it. It's a severe test. The US Open, arguably the most difficult of the 4 majors, and Shinnecock Hills is going to present a serious challenge. We expect that the winning score won't be a long way from par. If it's under par, it won't be way under par. It will be around par. That's what we're expecting, unless somebody comes and puts in an amazing tournament performance, produces 10 under or something like that. But I don't see that happening. I think it's going to be between about 5 under, might even be 1 over. Who knows? It's going to be really difficult. It's going to be a real test. So we need to look for players that are tidy. They're going to stay away from the long grass. Length is going to be an advantage. The bigger hitters who are reasonably accurate, and also good iron players. So of course, it's the usual stuff you're looking for in a golf tournament, but there are specific skills, such as accurate driving and keeping it tidy, which are going to help players perform well in this tournament. So I'm tempted to mention Spieth now. 20-1, I might add a 7th selection. Just going through the top players there. Spieth is a very tidy player. He has the pedigree. He's a multiple major winner. I don't need to talk about him too much because we all know about him. He's hugely talented, and I just think with his temperament on a course like this, and with the game he has, he's not a hugely long hitter, but he's an accurate, gritty player. He concentrates on keeping the ball in play and playing smart. His course management is very good, and I think 20-1 I think that's definitely worth a play. I'm going to say definitely look at Jordan Spieth at 20-1. Don't count him out. Obviously, the bookies think that he's not in the type of form that's required to be at the head of the market, but I never rule out Jordan Spieth. I think he's dangerous in every major, and I think the sort of golf required in the US Open, I think he's got the mental approach and temperament and pedigree to grind it out. So I'm going to have a selection on Jordan Spieth at 20-1. Next selection will be for Alex Noren. Wonderful iron player, nice short game, been in consistent form for months and years. He's going to win a major. Could be this one, and 45-1, very fair number. Player of his pedigree, Ryder Cup player. He's just wonderful to watch. The way that he won the BMW PGA Championship in 2017 with a very short round. It was a 62 or a 63. Or was it 64? It was a very short round, 62, 63, 64, in that range. Producing a majestic iron to the par 5 18th and closing it out. That's what he's capable of. And I think with his ball striking, he's going to be dangerous. So we'll have Alex Noren 45-1 each way. The odds I'm looking at, the terms are a fifth of the odds, 8 places on an each way basis. Next, I'm going to go for the current Players Championship winner, Webb Simpson, and a former US Open winner. He's 55-1. He's got a tidy game. It's pretty unspectacular game. It's not one it's not sort of a Dustin Johnson, bash the ball down the fairway, flick a little short iron in and, roll in a birdie putt. He's not that sort of player. He's more of a workmanlike player. But again, having described the course in the manner I have done, it's a difficult test and it's about keeping it tidy. He's long enough to manage. So I think 55-1 is a fair number on Webb Simpson. We're also going to take Mark Leishman, one of the most backed players on this channel, possibly the most backed player on this channel. And it's for the same reasons we're always backing him. He's reliable, he's got pedigree, he's performed in big tournaments, he's always a danger in majors, he's gone close in the Open, second place to Zach Johnson a couple of years ago, so he's played well in majors. Just a game that's made for tidiness and reliability, and he just keeps hitting fairways, he keeps hitting greens, and he keeps knocking at the door. He's always in the top 25, so I'm not going to miss out on a chance of backing Mark Leishman, a nice juicy number, 50-1. I'm also going to go for Matt Kuchar at 60-1. He's going to have the backing of the fans, the American. Tidy player around a long time, hugely experienced, good temperament. I've been expecting something for him for a long time in majors. And, it's nice to back someone like him in a US-based tournament. He's a very popular player. And it's time he steps up. And 60-1, I can imagine him being there or thereabouts. So I think it's a good number. If you're backing on an each-way basis, even if he comes in the sort of top 8 places, you're going to get a return. I think 60-1 is a nice number on him. So we're going to go for Matt Kuchar. The outside player I'm going to go for is someone who's underrated. Backed him before on this channel. A winner for us on this channel on the regular USPGA Tour. It's Brian Harman. Not one of the players that adorns the cover of Golf Monthly every week, but a tidy player, a quality player. Someone with a good temperament, and he's got all the good things that you'd expect and need for a player to do well on the US Open. His iron play is good, his putts per green hitting regulation is good. The greens are running at about 12.5 on the stimp meter in this tournament, so you've got to be good on the greens. They're going to be firm, they're going to be quick, and someone like Harman is very tidy on the greens, so we're going to go for him as well at 100-1. So to run through my selections, we've got Alex Noren 45-1, Webb Simpson 55-1, Mark Leishman 50-1, Rafa Cabrera Bello 90-1, Matt Kuchar 60-1, and Brian Harman 100-1. Reading that, I realise I've messed up Rafa Cabrera Bello. The reason I've gone for him is that figure of 90-1. I think it's large. Talented short game, obviously something that Spaniards are known for. Just a consistent player, good iron play, good driver of the ball, hits it a fair distance, he's got a nice swing, he's got a nice rhythm in his swing, so he's likely to maintain a good rhythm and tempo all week, and that should help him hit a lot of fairways and strike the ball cleanly. I think 90-1, I think that's a very nice number, a huge number. I think it could have been 66, something around that region, so there's definitely value there, and we're going to look towards Cabrera Bello at 90-1. So Noren, Simpson, Leishman, Cabrera Bello, Kuchar and Harman are my value selections. In terms of winning the tournament and for getting value, just looking at who has a good chance of winning, I've already mentioned Dustin Johnson. He's in form, he's dangerous. Rory McIlroy has been in good form. He did reasonably well at the BMW PGA Championship just a couple of weeks ago. Jason Day's been looking better. You can never count out Justin Rose. He's 16 to 1. The reason I've looked past that, he's a player I like to back in this sort of tournament. I just think I would have liked a bit more on Rose, despite the fact he's a former US Open champion. You can usually get somewhere in the mid-20s for him. So 16 to 1 I think is a bit short for me. I'd look towards Thomas. I think Ricky Fowler could have a good tournament, but based purely on value, I'm going to stick with Noren. I'm going to stick with Simpson. I'm going to stick with Leishman. I'm going to stick with Cabrera Bello, Kuchar and Harman. I hope it's a great tournament. I'm really looking forward to it. Shinnecock Hills is one of the most iconic tournaments in golf, so it's going to be sensational. And I hope you enjoy the tournament. Please comment on who you think has a chance to win and explain why. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time.